Hello again. Today we're going to talk about AI and how creepy they are. Do you like AI? I surely do. With Sora and everything that's coming upon that, here's some clips of it real quick. Amazing. At first I thought it was just stock images. Stock videos actually, but no it's not. Anyway, AI's terrifying, to say the least. Just like Terminator, or Transformers, or any other robot stuff going on out there in cinema. Anyway, today we're going to talk about terrifying technology things that's happening with AI and robotics. Now let's assume you're driving down a road, then a group of children suddenly appear in front of your car. You hit the brakes, but they don't work. Now you have two options. First is to run over the children and save your life. Second is to swerve into a nearby wall or concrete thing, thus saving the children but killing yourself. Which would you pick? Please let me know in the comments below. Most people agree they would swerve into the wall, killing themselves. Or if they have a car full of mattresses, maybe you would all be okay. Now imagine that your car is self-driving and you're the passenger. Would you still want it to swerve into the wall or kill you? Most people who agreed they would swerve into the wall, if they were the driver, also agreed that they would not want their self-driving car to swerve into the wall and kill them. In fact, they won't even buy such car if they knew it would be deliberately put them at risk in an accident. This takes us to another question. The brilliant question of what would the cars do? The cars will do what they were programmed to do. Of course. As things are, makers of self-driving cars aren't talking. Most like Apple, Ford, Mercedes-Benz tactfully dodge the question at every instance. An executive at Daimler AG, the parent company of Mercedes, once stated that their self-driving cars would protect the passenger at all costs, in parentheses. However, Mercedes-Benz refuted this, stating that their vehicles are built to ensure that such dilemma never happens. But things happen in life. That is ambiguous because we all know that all these situations are able to happen. What if there's a bear in front of your car? Are you going to save the bear or kill yourself? Google came clean on this and said itself avoiding driving cars would avoid hitting unprotected road users and moving things. This means the car would hit the wall and kill the driver. Google further clarified that in the event of impending accident, its self-driving car would hit the smaller or any two vehicles. In fact, Google's self-driving cars might be seeking to be closer to smaller objects at all times. Google currently has a patent on technology that makes its self-driving cars move away from bigger cars and towards smaller cars while on the road. That is very exciting for bicyclists and motorcyclists. With the current trends in AI, it's possible that robots will reach a stage of self-realization. When that happens, they may demand for their rights as if they're humans. That is, they'll require housing, healthcare benefits, and demand to be allowed to vote, serve in the military, and be granted citizenship. In return, governments would make them pay taxes. Of course, they would manipulate Bitcoin or something, and they'd be okay with taxes. This is according to the joint study by the UK Office of Science and Innovation's Horizon Scanning Center. That was a long one. This research was reported by the BBC in 2006 when AI was far less advanced, and it was conducted to speculate that technological advancements they might be seen in 50 years' time. Does this mean that machines will start demanding citizenship in about 40 years? Only time will tell, such as the Sora video I showed you earlier. Technology has been advancing quite quickly, even in the past year, with this Will Smith spaghetti meme. When we say automatic killer robots, we mean robots that can kill without the interference of humans. Drones don't count because they are controlled by people. One of the automatic killer robots we're talking about is the SGR-A1, a sentry gun jointly developed by Samsung, now called Hanwha Tekwon and Korea University. The SGR-A1 resembles a huge surveillance camera, except that it is a high-powered machine gun and can automatically lock onto kill any target of interest, sort of like a RoboCop movie. Quite terrifying. The SGR-A1 is already in use in Israel and South Korea, which has installed several units along its demolish zone with North Korea. South Korea denies activating the auto mode that allows the machine to decide who to kill and who not to kill. Instead, the machine is in semi-automatic mode, where it detects targets and requires the approval of a human operating to execute a kill. So if you're having a bad day, you may feel otherwise, or if you didn't have your coffee. Terrifying. In 2011, Iran captured a highly secretive RQ-170 stealth drone from the US military, intact. The last word is necessary because it means that the drone was not shot down. Iran claims it forced the drone to land after spoofing its GPS signal and making it think that it was in friendly territory. Some US experts claim that this is not true. But then, the drone wasn't shot down. So what happened exactly? For all we know, Iran could be telling the truth. Drones, GPS, and robots are all based on computers. And as we know, computers do get hacked, just like PC users. War robots would be no different if they ever to make it to the battlefield. In fact, there is every possibility that the enemy army would make attempts to hack them and use them against the same army fielding them. That'd be an actually really good movie. Anonymous killer robots are not yet in widespread use, so we have never seen any hack like this before. However, imagine an army of robots suddenly switching alliance on the battlefield and turning against their own masters. Or imagine North Korea hacking those SGR-A1 sentry guns at the DMZ and using them against South Korean soldiers. How terrifying that may be. Bots are taking over Twitter, or X now we call it. Research by the University of Southern California and Indiana University has indicated that about 15%, or 48 million of all X accounts are operated by bots. Twitter, or X, insists that the figure is around 8.5%. To be clear, not all these bots are bad. Some are actually beneficial. For instance, there are bots that inform people of natural disasters. However, there are some that are being used for propaganda, most especially by Russia or China. Russia is still in the news for using these bots to sow discord among US voters and sway them toward voting in 2016 election. Apparently. More than likely, yes, since that's FBI and so forth. If you're a viewer and you don't believe that, I apologize. That facts are real. Another little reported incident in Russia using these bots to sway UK voters into voting to leave the European Union during the 2016 Barracks reference. Days before the referendum, more than 150,000 Russian robots, which had previously concentrated on tweets relating to the war in Ukraine and Russia's Crimea, suddenly started churning out pro-Brexit tweets, encouraging the UK to leave the EU. These bots sent about 45,000 pro-Brexit tweets within 2 days of the event, but the tweets fell to almost zero immediately after the referendum occurred. What's worse is that Russia also uses these same bots to get Twitter, or X, to ban journalists who expose use of bots for propaganda. Once Russia detects an article reporting the existence of a bot, it finds the author of X page and gets its bots to follow an author en masse into Twitter bans the author's accounts on suspicion of being a bot themselves, which is quite fascinating. The worst is that Russia has seriously improved on its bots game. These days, it has moved from using full bots to using cyborgs, accounts that are jointly operated by humans and bots. This has made it all more difficult for X to detect and ban these accounts. Shocking. I wouldn't mind if a bot destroyed my MySpace account, but it's fine. No doubt machines will take over our jobs one day, unfortunately. However, what we don't realize is when they will take over and what to expect. Well, as we're about to find out, it's too large to extinguish. According to top consultancy and auditioning firm PricewaterhouseCoopers, or PwC, robots will take over 20% of the jobs in Japan, 30% of jobs in UK, and 35% of jobs in Germany. Also, 38% of jobs in US by the year 2030. By the next century, they will have taken over more than half of the jobs available to humans. The most affected sector will be transportation and storage, where 56% of the workforce will be machines. This is followed by the manufacturing and retail sectors, where machines will take over 46 and 44% of all available jobs. Taking about when it is speculated that machines will be driving trucks by 2027 and manning retail stores by 2031. Even nowadays, I see a lot more robots, like at the grocery store. By 2049, they'll be writing books. And by 2053, they'll be performing surgery. Only few professionals will be free of the machine incursion, but I mean, these machines may need oil as well, just like in Wizard of Oz, so you may have a job in the oil field. One is the role of church minister, which would remain free not because a machine can't run a church, but because most people won't approve of being preached by a robot, as it is said in the Bible and all holy texts in the past. In human-style fashion, robots are learning to be more deceitful. Oh, those glorious liars. In one experiment, researchers at the Georgia Institute of Technology in Atlanta developed an algorithm that allowed robots to decide whether or not to deceive other humans or robots. Such a brilliant idea. If the robots decided to take the route of deceit, the researchers included an algorithm to allow the robots to decide how to deceive the people and robots while reducing the likelihood that a person or robot being deceived will ever find out. In the experiment, a robot was given some resource to guard. It frequently checked on the resources, but started visiting false locations whenever it detected the presence of another robot in the area. This experiment was sponsored by the U.S. Office of Naval Research, which means it might have military applications. Great idea. Align robots on the military field. Robots guarding military supplies could change their patrol routes if they noticed they were being watched by enemy forces, or being invisible to enemy eyes or your eyes if you're watching them. In another experiment, this time at the École Fédérale of Lausanne in Switzerland, scientists created 1,000 robots and divided them into 10 groups. The robots were required to look for a good resource in a designated area, while they avoided hanging around a bad resource. Each robot had a blue light, which it flashed to attract other members of its group whenever it found the good resource. The best 200 robots were taken from this first experiment, and their algorithm were crossbred to create a new generation of robots. The robots improved on finding the good source. However, this led to a congestion as other robots crowded around the prize. In fact, things got so bad that the robot that found the resource, when sometimes pushed away from it, finding. 500 generations later, the robot learned to keep their lights off whenever they found the good resource. This was to prevent congestion and the likelihood that they would be sent away if other members of the group joined them. Clever girl. At the same time, other robots evolved to find the line robots by seeking areas where robots converge with their lights off, which is the exact opposite of what they were programmed to do. It's like they're learning. Where's Will Smith when you need him? To slap him. The AI market is being monopolized. Bigger companies are buying smaller AI startups at an alarming rate. If you look at the stock prices, they are significantly higher nowadays, such as like Microsoft and so forth. With the current trend, we would end up with AI controlled by a very small number of corporations. Reports indicate that companies like Apple, Facebook, Intel, X, Samsung, and Google had purchased over 140 artificial intelligence businesses over 5 years. In the first 3 months of 2017, actually, even though that was a long time away, big tech companies bought 34 AI startups right away, right when it first started. Worse, they also paying huge bucks to hire the top scholars in the field of AI. If this remains unchecked, you can guess where we're heading. And also, if you have stocks in AI, congrats, you're rich. AI is classified into two groups, strong and weak AI. Ones who work out and hit leg day, others that go to Burger King and don't hit leg day. The AI around us today are classified as weak AI. This includes supposedly advanced AIs like smart assistants and computers that have been defeating chess masters since 1987. So what's that say about the other chess players? Are they weak humans? The difference between strong and weak AI is the ability to reason and behave like a human brain. Use that noggin. Weak AI generally do what they were programmed to do, in retrospect of how sophisticated that task might seem to us. Strong AI, at the other end of the spectrum, has the consciousness and reasoning ability of humans and more. It is not limited by the scope of its programming, and can decide what to do and what not to do without human input. Strong AI does not exist for now, but scientists predict that they should be around in about 10 to 15 years' time. Terrifying. And then also, once they get that consciousness, surely they'll indulge in every form of why humans are bad and destroy us. And we move on to this happy video. There are fears that the world might end up in an AI apocalypse, just as what happened in the Terminator film franchise. The warnings that AI might destroy us aren't coming from some random scientists or conspiracy theorists, but from professionals like Stephen Hawking, Elon Musk, and Bill Gates. Bill Gates thinks AI will become too intelligent to remain under our control. The late Stephen Hawking shares the same opinion. He doesn't think AI will suddenly go berserk overnight. Rather, he believes machines will destroy us by becoming too competent of what they do. Our conflicts with AI will begin the moment their goals are no longer aligned with ours. Elon Musk has compared the ideas of AI to summoning the demon. He believes it is the biggest threat to humanity. To prevent the AI apocalypse, he has proposed that governments start regulating the development of AI before for-profit companies do something very foolish. Interestingly, he has Tesla, which I'm curious on what he's doing about AI for his own company, actually. Anyway, what do you think of AI? Do you think it's fascinating? Do you think it's scary? I think it's a little bit of both, like cake. You can have a lot of calories, or you can have a good taste in your mouth for a little bit. Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a great one. Bye.